Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In the last part we started in Prospector's Trail and explored all the way through the Pine Barrens and did the mini Black Legion quests there. We found several lore notes along our way, but due to an internet outage I wasn't able to encode those. So the internet is fixed and we're going to be getting right to it.
And some quick updates here on the character. We'll start off in the devotions. We had 1 point, so we were able to finish Fox and get 5 green. Then we went back to Devil's Crossing and went to Sadina to unlearn these blue and green points in the Crossroads. This is called Crossroads, so if someone says, oh, just go unlearn the points in Crossroads, that's what they mean. So we unlearned these 2 points and we put them in Kraken. Got some damage and some health and a cast speed. So that's those upgrades. Equipment wise, everything's the same since the last part, with the exception of Rampage. I put a level 25 relic on here. But I noticed I wasn't getting the granted skill because of my offensive ability. I was like at 1% crit. So what I did is I went back to Sadina, unlearned Menhir's Bulwark, and learned Oleron's Rage for the offensive ability. And now we can get a critical strike against monsters and hopefully get the proc. And that this proc here will increase our DPS, some bleed, some offensive ability, and 15% total speed, which is run, walk speed, cast speed, and attack speed. So it's good for blasting. So we're gonna catch up on the lore notes here. Let's see. The first one we're gonna do is, I think, this Imperial Proclamation. It's found in the tower on the ramparts of Tyrant's Hold. So let's see what this has to say.
By Imperial Proclamation, Duke Bayon Cavanil is hereby ordered to disband the 31st Division of the garrison, currently stationed at Tyrant's Hold. All soldiers are immediately released from active service without pay. Soldiers may take their weapons and armor as compensation. Immediately following the disbandment of forces at Tyrant's Hold, Duke Cavanil is relieved of his command and ordered to present himself before the High Marshal Nicolas Mainville. Failure to report on the 1st of the month will constitute forfeiture of all land and titles to the Imperium. Imperial Justicar, Rainer Finch.
Well, there ain't none of that sounds good at all. You let all the people go with their armor and ammunition. Every road's going to be highway robbery, really. Let's see what the Duke has to say about that.
Cavanil's journal. This makes no sense. I have been ordered to dismiss my army without pay. Furthermore, they have given the men their weapons and armor as final payment. What are they thinking? This order can only result in anarchy. Half these men will become bandits or worse. If dismissed without pay, they won't have a second thought about turning their blade against the Empire. Without this garrison, the Grabbles will reclaim this area unchallenged. The road from Darkvale to Devil's Crossing will become impassable. We have been holding this fort since the fall of the Dranghall savages, but they keep pressing to take it back. I have requested more men and weapons from Irulan, and this is the response I get in return. Madness. I have half a mind to ignore this decree, and if my wife and son were here with me, I would. Upon further reflection, these men might also turn against me. Not that I feel I have mistreated them, but they could easily view me as part of the aristocracy that has put them in this predicament. I must leave before they receive this news, or I fear I will never see my family again. Duke Cavanil, commander of Fort Tyrant.
Yep, so he pretty much just said what I said prior to reading the note. Alright, we got 2 more here. The scale strikes balance. And we're on our own. So this scale strikes balance. If you remember, we went to that dangerous domain area. And this note is in the Arcovian docks.
It is a strange sensation, or should I say lack of it, to witness the world around me without tactile sensation. I hold a forkful to my mouth, yet the weight of the fork is non-existent to my hand. The act itself is just a gesture. Food offers no flavor anymore. In a way, that is a blessing, for the stench of decay no longer bothers me either. What remained of the putrid flesh upon my bones has all but rotted away, and with it rots away my mind. Putting pen to paper becomes increasingly difficult as my thoughts wander to emptiness. It is no longer that mystical silence of daydreaming where the mind explores its reaches, but the absolute absence of anything at all. That, I suppose, is the end to this curse. An eternity of emptiness awaits us all. Outside my home, the harbour is alight with the orange glow of massive flames. Judging by the shouts and noise, my countrymen have set themselves to burning the ships. To what end, I cannot say. Perhaps the arson fills them with a small flicker of purpose and life. For me, I still find solace in philosophy and parchment, for as long as my mind remains capable of it. For example, one may consider the curse which befell our lands to be divine punishment handed down upon us for our hubris. I am a skeptic, yet even I cannot deny the irony of undeath condemning people hellbent on exterminating necromancy. If the gods truly exist, then they have a sick sense of humour and justice. The scales of Ulkama, it appears, have struck a balance in the end. Nafa, Scala of Arcovia.
Alright, and the final note here, we're on our own. This note drops from Rutnik the Cruel when we kill him. That was the guy with the Aether guns that got our health down quite a bit a couple times. So let's see what old Rutnik's got to say.
Cranley's lost it, I'm telling ye. Bastard's got in his head that we can just march on over to Devil's Crossing and take the place like they was dying in there. For what? Revenge, Bourbon's small fish, and that settlement's low on supplies. They's as good as dead. Taking it is a fool's errand anyway. With the bridge out, it's practically an unassailable fortress. But Darius is gonna throw lives at it. Yeah, we got us them crystals in our backs, making every man feel like 100. But that does us no good when the only way into Devil's Crossing is up a sheer cliff and a bullet to the brains. No, Cranley and I are through. Me and the boys is headed for easier targets. To the west lie big farmlands, no doubt unspoiled by what's going down in the towns and villages. Farmers will be easy pickings, and the food should last us the year before we pack up and move on again. No sense in sticking around this disjointed crew no longer. Now who's with me? Rutnik.
Yeah, you can't get back to Devil's Crossing because he doesn't know if they fixed the bridge. Last he knows, it was blown up. Alright, so that catches us up on the lore notes. And now we're going to head back to Prospector's Trail and journey north through the withering fields into Homestead here. Yeah, there we go. See it already procced. And we also get some more movement speed from Oleron's Rage. Oh, something else. We put some soul shards on our rings to get some vitality resistance. We took the ectoplasm off of this amulet and put a wardstone on here to get some more movement speed, some more bleed, and maxed out our elemental resist. So now we really just got to worry about chaos and aether and vitality. But resists are pretty good for level 34 here. And if you notice, the hardware outputs are at the bottom left of the screen. Shows our CPU usage, your frames per second, your temps, graphics card usage, and temps. So that's always helpful. Like right now we're running at 100 frames. CPU's at 34, 35 Celsius. GPU is at 39 Celsius using 4 gigs of RAM. We're running in 1080p though, so I'm sure it'll use a little more if you cranked up the resolution, but I don't have the ability to put 4K footage on YouTube, nor do I want to mess with it, because I think you got to be partnered and stuff. 1080p looks just fine the way I'm encoding it, so I don't know what it comes out at on YouTube, but encoding bitrate of OBS that I'm using is 33,000 bits per second. So every 30 minutes is around 8 gigs of storage. So, and we made it to Homestead here. Get down here to open the rift point. Okay, it's guarded. Killed him in 3 swings. There's a boss here. Okay, so there we killed that. What did it go around here? What's it doing? Oh, I must have clicked on the rift gate. I was trying to pick up an item and it kept moving my character around. I was trying to click on something and it kept moving me like I was stuck or something. I don't know. Weird.
These are trying times, but we will persevere.
Alright, wonder if we can trade for some food. It's not voiced over, so he's just going to give us a quest to... That's weird, that's a main quest, it's not voiced over, that's odd. Here's Isaiah Reddington, or Isaiah Redden. He hoped I died because I took half his scrap, but I survived, so he actually becomes a merchant that you can sell things to. We'll equip that in a couple levels, maybe. Alright, so he wants us to clear out the eggs, but first, to unlock this gate, because right now we can't get through it, we need to go back to Dead Man's Gulch, see Algrim, and port him back. If you remember, he wanted us to get the way to Homestead, secure the rift, then come back and get him, so we got to go back to get him. And we'll tell this guy that his sister didn't survive the mountain deeps. That was Dala. She didn't make it.
So how doomed are we? Now that we come to it, I can't say I'm eager to experience travel by rift. I hope you know what you're doing.
See y'all in Homestead. Oh wow, we ported all of them. Left the cart though. Wonder if there's any supplies on there they could have used. Alright, now we gotta go back to Homestead and talk to him. Speak to Algrim in Homestead. Alright, so we got some notes. We got 7th and 8th entry of Inquisitor Creed and a Black Legion scouting report.
I'm going to check in with Creed here, but I suggest you speak to Captain Sommer. She's the Black Legion officer in charge of this sorry bunch. Look for the grumpy middle-aged hag in Black Legion armor. She'll fill you in on the situation.
Alright, we'll talk to her. This guy here gives us a quest to go out into the Conflaguration and rescue some cannons for the Black Legion, so we're going to go do that. I like doing that quest. Some don't like doing it, I like doing it. Captain Sommer here is going to give us...
Olgrim tells me you're one tough slip, and right now that's what I need most. Will you fight for the Black Legion? The Legion is split on 2 fronts. To the north, we have the Cult of Agon. Nasty bastards keen on turning all of us into a puddle of blood for their rituals. I have my best men out there right now scouting ahead. The cultists are amassing in great numbers, and I'd like to know why. There is a more pressing issue, however, and this is where you come in. Olgrim says that you are experienced with fighting the Ethereals. That's good. You'll need all your skills for this one. Far to the west, beyond the infested farms and the rotting croplands, there is an area teeming with Ethereals that we have started calling the Gruesome Harvest. It is a fitting title as the Ethereals have been gathering corpses, animal and human alike, in order to conduct their sick resurrection techniques upon them. The barn there has been giving off a blinding aether light non-stop for the last few days and nights. That is, until today. Whatever they are working on, it must be nearly finished. And knowing the Ethereals, it's something monstrous. We can't risk the Ethereals discovering that we know about their creation. I need someone to sneak in there and destroy this abomination before it even has a chance to wreak havoc upon my people. We'll only get one shot at this, so I want someone who has experience dealing with ethereal horrors to handle this mission. Will you be my champion?
Alright, so the main quests are updated. We gotta go clear out some egg clusters near Homestead and then find the ethereal amalgamation. And the side quest, recover lost cannons. Recovering the lost cannons is a lot of aether damage and stuff that we got to go across, so we're going to go. Well, first we're going to read these lore notes.
Inquisitor Creed Entry 7. Much time has passed since my last entry. Following my escape from Krieg's laboratory, I have raced against time and lost, passed through darkness and flame, and witnessed the ruin of the world as I knew it. Even as I assumed key figures in the capital were likely to be possessed by the entities we now call Ethereals, I reasoned that it was only with support from within capital that we could hope to thwart them. Any action that began outside the capital could be spun as a political rebellion, and crushed with the Empire's own forces before the truth could be exposed. Thus, I cast the dice and raced toward the heart of Irulan, trying to conceal myself as best I could. Upon my arrival, I proceeded cautiously, booking a room at a squalid inn near the west gates in an effort to keep my arrival secret. Initially, I sought out old acquaintances, assuming if I could detect some change in personality or behavior, it might reveal possession. A few awkward reunions made it painfully obvious that years on the road carrying out my duties as an Inquisitor had left me out of touch, and unable to discern whether any changes were the result of possession, or just the passage of time and faded memories. The only gamble left then was to report back to the citadel of the Luminari, and see what came of it. I never made it there. Waiting until the sunlight dwindled and crowds thinned in the streets below, I rose to leave, but was quite startled to see that a shadowy figure had somehow silently breached my room, evading all of the wards set against intruders. This is how I came into cooperation with the First Blade.
And entry 8.
Inquisitor Creed Entry 8. It was known that anyone of significance who fomented discontent or posed a real threat to the rule of the Emperor might be visited by the First Blade. I had never stirred such controversy, but I always imagined, if such an encounter took place, I could put up a respectable fight. I never got the chance. Taken unawares, I was disarmed before I even knew what was happening. Had he sought my death, I would not have even witnessed the killing stroke fall. However, he seemed more interested in answers instead, and in turn provided me with an account of his own events that confirmed my worst fears. The First Blade revealed that only days prior, he had been forced to turn his knives on the Emperor himself by his own command. Despite the myriad safeguards protecting the Emperor, both mundane and arcane, he had become host to an ethereal. Through strength of mind, he had usurped his possessor long enough to summon the First Blade, command his own execution, and charge the assassin with ensuring that his son, the young prince, survived to reclaim the throne. His last commands issued, the Emperor's consciousness slipped once again under the control of the ethereal, and a desperate battle ensued. The First Blade reported that he believed the Emperor and the ethereal within him slain, but given his inexperience with the entities, could not say anything for certain. He relayed that he had secretly taken the prince and put him into hiding, but declined to elaborate. The First Blade said he intended to retire his imperial title and had chosen the name Ulgrim, which made me curious as to whether it was an intentional reference to the mythic character. A final troubling detail was that no proclamation of the Emperor's passing had been issued. Not only did this demonstrate the Ethereals had sufficient control of the palace to conceal the death, but, given that they couldn't hope to hide the Emperor's absence for long, it suggested the next phase of their operation was imminent. I strategized with Ulgrim long into the night, formulating a plan to counter the Ethereals, but ultimately we agreed that we could not defeat their conspiracy in time. The only course left was gather whatever people and resources we could, go to ground and weather the coming storm, then find a way to counter the invaders. We agreed that the Black Legion would be our best hope in securing allies. As a conscripted army of criminals, debtors and political dissidents bound to service, it seemed unlikely that the Ethereals would have any reason to infiltrate them when they could control them indirectly through the military high command. The next step was to discreetly make contact.
Alright, and lastly we have the Black Legion scouting report.
I write this letter to report of extreme and disturbing ethereal activity to the north of Homestead. I set off to the foothills and made my way through the warren of low stone walls, fences, and occasional farmhouses. I was careful to move in secret and remain undetected from the horrors that still roam the fields unchecked. I made it to the valley of 2 hills near the river when I witnessed something I can barely comprehend. An unearthly black pillar that was neither stone nor flesh drifting slowly across the land as would a low cloud. A sickly green glow burned at its core, and great writhing tendrils hung from somewhere underneath the shifting back shell. I watched in mounting dread as the unholy arbalisk slowed, and then, without warning, burrowed the hooks of the dangling tentacles into the ground. The ground began to wither and glow with the same unwholesome green. It was then that the arbalisk pulled itself into the ground. With a sound that made me feel as if the earth was dying, it began glowing so bright I could hardly look. Its power seeped into the ground, twisting and corrupting as it spread. I lingered for nearly an hour in that place, and in that time, a great distance around the arbalisk had been changed. I was about to leave when the arbalisk erupted from the ground and drifted to an untouched patch of land to begin the cycle again. We must act soon, or there will be nothing left to save. -6th Regimental Scouts of the Black Legion, Renal Oberach.
Huh. Well, it sounds like he was in the wrong place when the Grim Dawn started. Alright, so we're gonna go get these cannons here.
I'll keep your stash safe.
I want to see if I have any aether resistance. I don't think I have any elixirs.
I'll
Yeah,
hold
I have
on
to
to that
make
for
some.
you.
I do the best I can with what I've got.
Yeah, Spirit Bane ointment. I'll make some of those.
Bring me back any blueprints you find.
Alright, so that takes us to 61%. It's not ideal, but it's a heck of a lot better than 35 or whatever it was. What kind of systems do you guys all run Grim Dawn on? I see a lot of people in streams and on forums that, you know, it overheats, it crashes, makes their fans all spin up. I mean, we're at 40C on the graphics card and 35 to 38 on the CPU. So I don't really know what those guys are doing. I mean, this is the end of February 2026, and what I have is considered a mid-tier system. This is a Ultra 7 265K from Intel and a 5070 Ti graphics card. Again, It's called mid-tier, and it was still $3 grand. It's one of the new Alienware Area 51s. The cooling in this is just amazing with the way they got it set up. It's probably why my temps are so good. Oh, get the writing off my screen. Sometimes when you kill too many heroes in a row, it queues them all up and then it just keeps displaying them and you can't see what you're doing. Between the loot and the writing on the screen, it's like, get the stuff out of the way, man. I also have a key bound to hide all loot, so I can see better, because you can get the ground covered up in loot and then be standing in something and then die. So if that's something you're experiencing, just go into your keybind options and set a key to hide and show loot. It's the same key. For me, I use G as in George, just as what works for me. And I also use W to force move, and I steer with the mouse, so I don't have to constantly do left click, right click. You saw the damage we were taking there through the Aether. Ground effects ignore resist anyway, so it makes it rougher. This is a common offhand. It drops pretty much on every one of my playthroughs. It's so common. But if you're a pet class, the Revenant is a good summon. And I always use this on my any pet build that I do at level 40. So I'm going to keep that and put that in my stash. What do we got here? Purging of Insight? Nah. Vile Scorn? Nah. So we'll just sell all this stuff. Here's the obelisk that the Black Legion scouting report was talking about. How it just comes out of the ground and then everything around it glows green. Oh cool, there's a devotion shrine there. We wouldn't have been able to do this with just 30 resistance. We would have died. Oh wow. Aether Fire of the Aether, huh? I think I'm going to keep that, because I was thinking about making one of these too. Viola Shadow is Nightblade, and Word of Pain is Inquisitor. And it does a global convert from pierce damage to Aether. So you can kind of have like an Aether damage based Nightblade, which is kind of neat. It's just something I'm going to think about playing with later on. Alright, so here's the cannons we rescued. Their Black Legion will come and get them. And we opened up that and got leg plates of valor. Those are nice. We'll equip those at level 40. And we're just putting points in Rending Force to max out our force wave damage, which is now almost 15,000. And here's another devotion point, so we'll get another Kraken point here. Get some more health and cast speed. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more.